The tank, a British invention that went into battle for the very first time during World War I. This first tank was simply called the Mark I. It weighed 28 tons and was manned by 8 crew. On the 15th of September 1916, 49 tanks rolled into action at the Battle of Flers-Courcelette. Tilly Mortimer's father, Harold, was a tank commander in the first wave.
This was on the edge of Delville Wood, and Delville Wood was a sort of area where, which was really important to them in terms of moving forward. And there were these trenches of German soldiers which had been totally deadly on Delville Wood, and there'd been huge casualties. And so their mission was literally to clear these trenches, which were in a sort of zigzag format, of the German machine gunners.
The huge steel tanks provided the infantry on foot with protection as they moved forward towards the German lines. These lumbering monsters were unlike anything they or the Germans had seen before.
They cleared out the trench they were supposed to clear out. And he said that when his tank appeared at this trench, that the German soldiers, just as a man, they dropped their guns and they ran.
Inside the tank, the crew of 8 were hot and cramped.
Now you can see the engine is right in the middle of the vehicle, and once this engine was started, all conversation ceases. It's so noisy. These exhaust stacks that run up through the roof of the vehicle, after half an hour's running of the engine, they would glow red hot. So it's an intense heat in this space.
Despite the appalling conditions, the soldiers were mesmerised and they loved the tanks. By 1917, the Mark IV tank was in action. It was more heavily armoured and took the fight to the enemy with major battle success. The Mark IV was the first game-changing design. At the Battle of Cambrai, for example, there were 378 in action. The Mark IV was replaced by the Mark V in 1918, which spearheaded the British and Allied infantry advances into German lines that eventually ended the war.
The tank was a British answer to a problem of the warfare on the Western Front. How on earth were British soldiers going to cross the barbed wire, get through the German machine guns and break out and push out that occupying German army? So the tank is a battering ram to come along and crush down the wire and let our infantry lead on behind it.
Although the tank of World War I was slow, clumsy and mechanically unreliable, its value as a combat weapon was assured. So tank evolution continued. Armour became thicker, weapons more powerful, conditions better for the crew. 7th Armoured Brigade famously conducted tank warfare in the deserts of North Africa under Field Marshal Montgomery during World War II. Fast forward to 1946, and the first generation main battle tank was in service. The Centurion first saw action on the front line with the British Army in Korea in 1950. With thick armour, it was also highly mobile, becoming one of the most successful tank designs. In 1966, the Chieftain took over. This was the main battle tank of the British Army through the 60s, 70s and 80s. During the Cold War, the tank returned to prominence for the British Army on the Rhine as the West prepared to take on the Soviet Army across the plains of Eastern Europe. But by the 1980s, the Chieftain was considered outdated, and the 3rd generation main battle tank, the Challenger 1, entered service in 1983. The Challenger gun claims the longest distance tank kill in history. During the First Gulf War, it defeated an Iraqi tank at a range of 4 kilometres. It was eventually upgraded to the Challenger 2 in 1998. The first tank made German soldiers drop their weapons and run, and the tank remains a weapon of fear. Through all its many changes, today's tank remains fundamentally similar to the first tank that rolled onto the battlefield 100 years ago. Charlotte Banks, Forces News.